three solas.
What'd you just say?
The three tenets of the Reformation.
Sola what? Sola? Let's stop there for a second. What am I talking about? What are the three solas? Well, during Reformation days, there were three solas, three tenets of our Lutheran faith. They were sola scriptura, sola fide, and sola gratia. Sounds great, right? But what exactly does that mean? Well, we Lutheran Christians, helped, of course, by Martin Luther and the Reformation, believe in sola scriptura, which means scripture alone. We also believe in the second tenet, sola fide, which means faith alone. And the third sola is sola gratia, which means grace alone. So the three tenets that we believe in is scripture alone, faith alone, and grace alone. Now, scripture alone. Scripture is the only base and source for our lives. Sola fide, faith alone. We are saved by faith alone in Jesus Christ and none other. And then sola gratia, grace alone. It's all by God's grace, or grace alone. As we say, nothing in my hands I bring, simply to the cross I cling. It's all about grace. So three solas of the Reformation: sola scriptura, sola fide, and sola gratia. Scripture alone, faith alone, and grace alone. Let's get back to our sermon.
Reformation Sunday, a mighty fortress is our God. A day to celebrate as Lutheran Christians. Happy birthday, Lutheran Christians. Reformation. As the question stands up on the screen, does it really matter? It was interesting. I have to share a quick funny story. Every Sunday morning coming in, Donna will say, or actually Donna will ask me, well, what's the sermon about today? And I'll tell her a few lines about what the sermon's about. This morning we were coming in, and Donna asked the same question she always does. What's the sermon about today? And I said, does it really matter? And she says, I guess not if you don't want to tell me. I said, no, that's my theme. Does it really matter? Reformation. Someone says Reformation. Some people might say, does it really matter? Let's take a look. Does it really matter? Does it really matter to have a special emphasis this morning on Reformation? I suppose it does in some way, because it helps to remind us that Martin Luther is not the civil rights leader from the 1960s. That was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The Martin Luther that we remember today is a man who lived in Germany some 500 plus years ago and who helped reform the church. And again, since he lived over 500 years ago, I guess it begs the question, does it really matter? Well, it certainly is useful for knowing that we are Lutheran Christians. It's certainly good to learn a bit about history, right? But does the Reformation really matter beyond the, say, classroom experience of keeping people straight, knowing the difference between Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Martin Luther? Does it really make a difference? Does it really matter to keep our tradition as Lutheran Christians alive? Well, at first glance, the answer is no. To be honest, the Reformation wasn't so much about Martin Luther as it was about righteousness and certainty. Meaning, how can we be right with God? How can anyone be certain of life everlasting? Those were the questions that the Reformation wanted answered. How can we be right with God, and how can we be certain that there is life after death?